just so long I thought I would go blind.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel, All Things Logic. I'm Jeremy Haas. In this video I'm going to show you guys how to use Logic Pro's Guitar Amp Designer. It's pretty sick, okay? I love using this. I mean, I stayed away from amp designers and amp sims for a long time because I was just like, it's not real, but whatever. It's a lot of fun, especially if you're on tour or like in a motel, I mean, or whatever. If you're in the city in an apartment, you can't always just turn up your amplifier and record with the microphone. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. Woohoo! All right, guys, if you guys want to follow along, I'm going to go ahead and open up my project here, Logic Pro. Okay, so this is a song I've been working on. It's called All Bets Are Off. It's a time signature, and it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's 3/4 time. Okay, it's a lot of fun, punk rock sounding song. So what I've done already is I've laid down 2 different guitar tracks. Okay. And you'll see they're in the red here, but there's 4 actually you see here. But so this one right here, I'll light them up. This one and this one. Let me take this off. These 2 right here is my left ear. This is actually just one, like I was talking about earlier. I use a DI box, and I go in with my guitar in the DI box, and then I split the signal. So this first one is my Shure SM57, actual Shure SM57 microphone, recording my 6505 Plus in its cabinet and its speaker, and that's that. And with the same take, I split that signal up, and I go into my audio interface and do a dry direct signal. And with the same take, okay? So this is just one take right here. And then what I'll do is then I'll add an amp sim to that and blend those 2, okay? And I'll throw that all the way to the left ear. So that's one take, but you have 2 different, real amp and a amp sim in that left ear. And I'll do the same thing with my right ear here. And I'll do another take that's just these 2, okay? And then I'll do that, okay? So far right now I have these turned up. Yeah, I'm gonna play a sample of the song real quick. I have the 6505 Plus on this one and this one where it says Shure SM57 or this SM57, okay? So, and I haven't, and so I have the dry tracks also recorded here, okay? So, but that's where I'm gonna show you guys how to add an amp sim to that, the guitar amp sim to that today, okay? So, so you can do, and then I also have a bass guitar I laid down direct with my into audio interface, and I've added a bass amp sim on that, and I have another video showing you how I did that with this song, how to use the bass amp designer, okay? A little bit different, but pretty much the same thing, okay? And then for the first time I've actually added a session drummer. I don't know if I'm gonna keep it, but I think it's pretty cool how close it got to what I want actually in reality. As soon as I can actually add drums and live drums, I will. I just haven't added the time yet. So okay, so let me hit play real quick, and I'll show you real quick without the amp designer or anything. And just to let you know, there's no EQ going on here. There's no compression. This is just the tracks, man. I just laid these down straight, just laid them down the way they were. Okay, so let's hit play real quick. Except for I have an amp designer on my bass track. Okay, so let's hit play real quick. Pretty sick, huh? Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and just show you guys what I'm going to single out solo the guitar tracks only. So as you can see, I told you these are just using recording my 6505 Plus. That's all you can hear right now, left ear and right ear. These 2. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to unsolo those. I'm just going to solo the dry signal so you can hear it without any amp sim on it, and then we'll add some amp sim to that, okay? So let me turn those up real quick. That's the dry signal. It's without any amp sim on it, anything like that, okay? So let's go ahead and I'm gonna solo just this one right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and put it in both ears so we can go ahead and add amp sim to it. All right, cool. So we got that going on. And what I'm going to do now is we're going to go down, we're going to actually do this. We're going to go down to what this is right here, this little area. If you don't have that turned on, turn that on right there by clicking that. That's your I think it's called inspector window. Yeah, inspector window, inspector I. So whatever you're doing here, whatever track you're on, it'll change that to this area, okay? Because this is your input and this is your master output track for that track, okay? So and is the here on this input is where we actually put your amp stems and pedals and effects for that track, okay? And so what I'm going to do is let me get rid of this plugin real quick. This is where you put your plugins in, okay? This is where you'll put your amp sim, your pedals, your effects, that compression, just for that channel, compression and all that stuff, just for that track. So we're gonna go over these little arrows, left click on that, and we're gonna go down to amps and pedals, and we're gonna go over to amp designer, mono. I'm gonna click on that, okay? There we are. There's your guitar amp designer right there, okay? Pretty sick. Okay, so that's let me so that's the clean one. The default it always starts off with. That's me turning it on, turning it off, the plugin. Okay, so we're looking for a kind of a crunch or a metal, hard rock or distorted guitar. Okay, so right up here to get started, to dial it in, we're gonna go down. I'm gonna choose distortion and go over, and we're gonna pick one of these real quick. Okay, whoops, I just lost it. Go over, and we're gonna go over to let me see what I like. I like let's just start with American Stack real quick. Okay. Let's hit play. Look at Mesa Boogie. Wow. Okay, let's do this. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and let this play, and I'm actually going to go, while it's playing, I'm going to go change it up and see if I like something better than that, even though I do like. Sunshine, it looks like an orange, orange cabinet. They call it Sunshine. Okay, so now I don't like that. Let's keep going. Not bad. Okay, I think I'm going to go back and try to keep it at the Mesa Boogie. Yeah, okay, that's where we're going to stick at, okay? So from here, this is really cool. This is where it gets a lot of fun, okay? And you can kind of lose yourself in this part, okay? So right here, down here is the model of the amp stack. So this is this is actually, when you change this up, it'll change this and your cabinet and your microphone. That's what these are over here, okay? So when you do that, I'll change up everything together, okay? And so you can actually go here and you can go and look for the name of it actually. So we can go here and do that and change that up if I want to. It's like so you got a Marshall there. It's not bad. It's not bad. I'm just going to go back. Oops. No, we're going to keep that the same. I'm going to go back and we're going to go back to American. I'm just going to keep it there because I really like this. I don't know. That Marshall is pretty cool, actually. Let me turn this down. Let me turn on the gain real quick. I know. We'll keep that there. And then maybe on the other track, I'll change it up to the Marshall. And we'll do separate ones, left and right. Because the more you do that, even in real life, if you actually change up, if you do a left guitar right, okay. If you don't know why I'm doing the left one guitar left and one guitar right, that's the number one trick that everyone uses, especially today, to get you a big, wide, huge guitar sound. Okay, You don't want to just go and put one guitar down the middle or stack guitars down the middle on each other. It'll sound muddy and it's boring. It sounds small. I mean, it's a great trick to start off maybe with one down the middle and then jump to left and right, when you go to chorus to make it blow up, if you want your song to be like that. But I always start off with a left guitar and a right guitar as two separate takes, left ear, right ear, okay? And even if it is splitting them up to signals and doing one guitar, one real guitar or real amp and one amp sim. I don't want to confuse you though. Anyways, so and then to give it an even bigger sound is I'll start with one left, one right, separate amps, and even if you're using amp sim or an actual real amp, it's really cool to give it even a cooler, wider sound, a thicker sound, is to change up your guitar for different guitar in your left ear and right ear, or change up your microphone or your cabinet or your amp completely separate, and you can get really cool wide sound, thicker, bigger sounds. The more the amp, if it's closer to the same amp, the less big it sounds, and so it's a good trick to learn how to do that. Or maybe just do one right, a real amp guitar, and one amp sim on your left, one real amp, one amp sim on your left, or left, right, whatever, and that could give you a wide sound. I don't like to do that because they're too much of a different contrast. So if I'm going to do that, I like to keep them at least one real, and then maybe blend one amp sim and one amp sim like I do here. Yeah. So it gets, but just a little trick, and I know we're not talking about this in this video, or we're not talking about big wide sounds, but just to give you guys another awesome fact or trick, whatever, is tip, I should call it, is like, I'd say you start off with the left and right ear guitar like I have here. So it gives it a real wide sound big sound to start off with. But if you want to get bigger and wider, you add two more of those. You add when it comes to chorus. So if you want to blow up a chorus, but you want the whole song to be big, but you want to really blow up a chorus, start off with the left and right ear, your verses, and when you hit chorus, wherever you want to get bigger, louder, not louder, but bigger, you add another left and right. Okay, but you want to play your guitars as close as possible. You want it to be tight as possible, because if you're sloppy, it will just, you might be aiming for it, but it will give it kind of a chorusy or a spacey sound. But if you're looking for a spacey sound, then be sloppy with it. But if you want that tight prog metal or just tight thrash metal like I like to do, get them as close as possible. Okay, and you can't just double them. You can't do one track and double it and throw it left and right. It doesn't work that way. For some reason, I don't know exactly how that works, but it'll make it sound. You can't get what you're looking for that way. You can trick it out and try to, but there's something that doesn't work that way. I don't know why, but you can't really do that. You actually have to take the time to do that and actually record separate ones. Okay, so now that I just told you all that, I gave away some secrets I should have saved for another video. But hey, we're all friends here. Okay, so here's the amp designer. So now I'm going to keep going on. So this is, if you change this, it'll change everything up. So like I just showed you, the Marshall, where were we at? Where was that? Yeah, there's your Marshall, okay? So it changed your cabinet and your microphone. But let's go and change that back. So I stick to the same thing. There's your Mesa Boogie and its cabinet and everything. Now over here, in this case, we just did that. This is just changing, not the whole thing. This is just changing your amp head, okay? Let me play it. Okay? So that's just changing your amp head. Okay? That's a little, the Mesa Boogie's a little too strong for, especially if I have all the other amps going on. I might go to that Marshall, actually. But anyways, we'll do that in a second. Okay, so now right here is a cabinet, so you can actually change up. Let me hit play, and you can change up just the cabinet. So, I do like that actually. Okay, so that's cool. So you can just sit there and change your cabinets, to 12s, 10s, or different types of cabinets of 12s, whatever, 15s. And then what's really cool, this keeps going, getting cooler, dude. Okay, so over here is your microphone, okay? This is your microphone placement right here. You can change farther away, more to the center or the edge of the speaker, or the center of the cone and farther away. So I'm gonna hit play and I'll show you what I'm doing. Now now this is even cooler. Okay, here is actually you can change your microphone. So there's your SM57 basically. This is your Sennheiser 421. See, it looks like a Sennheiser. What a trip, huh? Okay, let me hit play and change these up. SM57. I personally like that one. I do. Okay, so I kind of got the sound I'm looking for close, you know. I mean, closest I'm going to get with stock plugins, you know, stock guitar plugins. Okay, so and another thing I want to show you real quick. Okay, this is your, so if we're hitting play like I showed you a second ago, this is your gain, your bass, your mids, your trebles, there's your EQs. Okay, this is your reverb. If you want to turn it on, it's off right now. You got your effects, you know, send and you got your depth. That's like a reverb or a vibrate, tremolo, vibrate. And also presence and master, okay, just like a real amp head, okay, so we can go and fine tune everything here, okay. Another thing I really want to point out is, so if you're going direct and you're using an amp sim like this, it happens a lot with bass guitar too. I have another showing you how to do bass guitar on this, but when you're recording your signal, you never want to clip it. You make sure, like when you're going direct in your guitar or directing your audio interface with your guitar or bass, make sure it's not clipping it ever in the red. It never hits that red. Make sure it always stays green or close. It doesn't matter if it doesn't stay green always. It won't always stay green, but it's in the green at least when you're playing. So what I do to get the close as I can to the loudest, because you want a good volume, but you do not want it to clip and digitally distort. It sounds bad. It sounds really bad, and you got to redo it all over again. Especially if you're sending your stuff out for someone else to mix and master, they'll just send it back to you and tell you to do it over again. And you might have done a really great performance, and you don't want to, no, I took forever to get that performance down. You know, it happens. So I always suggest using a level meter or a VU meter. Logic Pro comes with a great one. It's a level meter, and it's like a VU meter. You can check if it's clipping the signal. You kind of want it around negative 6 dBs. RMS you want around 20, maybe 18, whatever. But when you're recording direct like that, direct signals, either bass or guitar, like I said, you don't want it to clip. And I was going to just tell you a second ago, what I'll do is I'll plug into my, if you're not using a VU meter or a level meter, check out and you just, especially with GarageBand and stuff like that, they don't have a good one unless you download a third-party one. It's just good practice to when you're setting up your track and you plug in your guitar bass and when you're strumming, I strum with one hand as loud as I'm going to be, hard as I'm going to be hitting my guitar, and I'll turn up the signal. And I'll go all the way up till it starts peaking in the red, and I'll turn it down just to where it doesn't peak at all in the red anymore. Just right there. That's a good spot to go with usually. Okay? But it doesn't always transfer over that great. Like sometimes, especially bass guitar is saying, the signal will be really quiet sometimes. And there's a way to get around that now. You never want it to be too loud, but it's okay if it's a little quiet, because you can fix that always a little bit. And instead of turning up, if your signal's too quiet, especially with bass, if you you don't want to always just turn up your master or your gain, or your EQs to try to turn it up. You can go over to this output right here. This is like the signal's output. You can actually turn that up slightly. You don't want to turn it up too much because it will digitally distort, but you can turn that up, especially with a VU meter or a level meter, you can turn it up to where it's supposed to be. And then it's at the right volume and everything's good. Then you can go and mess with your gain and master from there to actually fine tune the tone, not the volume so much. You don't really want to mess with the volume too much unless it's out the signal. Okay, and saying that, then later on you can actually go and use compressors and all that stuff on it when you're doing the mixing part of the stage of your music, your song, your project. And then from there you can turn up the volume and with the sliders and stuff like that. But you definitely want to make sure you get a good track recorded down with a good signal. And so if the signal is too quiet for some reason, you just can turn it up a little bit with the output right there. Okay, so basically that's the Guitar Amp Designer. Pretty sick, like I said. Now they come with a gazillion different clean sounds too, and I can show you real quick what clean sounds sound like. Let me play real quick. That's all your clean. Okay, so these are all your cleans. You know, that's not what I'm looking for the song, but you get the idea. Awesome tweed, alias clean. Okay, and also might as well. I'm gonna show you real quick the crunches. We've got some good crunches in here. Sorry, that's my. Sorry for that bump. The camera. It's probably another crunch. And then you can go here once you find a sound you like, and then kind of go mess with everything in here. Actually, now that's now I'm in this. I think it's start. Cool, huh? Trippy. That's a trippy one. Okay, so you can do that. Okay, so I mean they have really good clean and crunch sounds, but this song's more for like a distortion, as obviously you could tell. But yeah, and not they have. It's real hard to get a good metal sound, as you can see. You know, it's just you're kind of playing with fire a little bit. But I'll have another video showing you where and how to get a bunch of free third-party plugins, distortion and get bass and everything, free plugins that you can actually download and then and get some fine-tune your guitar sound a little better. Because unfortunately, GarageBand and Logic Pro don't come with the greatest distortion plugins. They're getting close though. They're getting better and better each year. So. And I use them. I use a stock distortion, so I'm not saying they're horrible. I'm just saying that there's other stuff available out there and free ones too. Check my video. I'll have another video showing you guys where to go get that, download it, and then how to install it, and then how to use it as a plugin and use it with your project. All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm Jeremy Haas. I'll see you guys on the flip side. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. That leaves it wide open.
Through the walls and through our lives, stayed up so long I thought